What can the arts like mime, music, and painting teach us about God in a way that words just really can't?
I believe that in this world we have so many words that people are used to switch off. When they hear something and it's going on the way, people will switch off and not listen anymore. But if there is something else involved, the movement and light and darkness and something, people will be attracted and they will pay more attention. And also, everybody who sees a mime, there is not everything said. So people need to be involved in the creation and creative process. They need to co-create the story, and it helps them to touch something in their life.
Artistic and creative expression is a vital part of the life of American teenagers.
Dance, drama, music performance, drawing, and even computer-generated art forms are important avenues of self-expression.
When we participate in these creative activities, we learn about ourselves and are able to explore the deep questions we have about the world and our place in it.
What artistic endeavors do you have?
What are your creative outlets?
Has being creative ever made you feel better?
Artistic and Creative Ministries. That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Catherine.
And I'm Jack.
And this is
Realfaith TV. At the beginning of our show, we met our spotlight guest, Jana Ungarova.
Jana is a lay missionary from the Czech Republic who uses creativity in her ministry.
She has acted out scripture stories as a mime and also dresses up as a clown to bring the gospel message to others.
We will talk with her again later in the show.
We'll also talk with our studio guests to find out how Creative Ministries can help us to tell our stories more effectively than words can.
How is it that actions can speak louder than words?
That's what we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
I think that actions do speak louder than words, and that you have to actually do something to prove to someone that you're actually doing it instead of just talking about it.
When you just talk about something, you're not showing like that you can actually do it. When you actually do something, people like realize like, oh well, he's actually doing it. Maybe I can actually do it too.
And you could just talk and say you're gonna do things like, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna do that. But if you're actually gonna do it, like seeing you take the steps to actually like pursue that idea is a lot more than just saying, oh, I'm gonna do this, oh, I'm gonna do that,
Say it and you don't do it, then it's not worth saying it.
How can actions speak louder than words?
Like, through what people do, it's probably more powerful than words are.
Because things you do, make more of an impact on someone than something you say. So if you're a good person and you show people that you're, a good person, it can mean more than things that you say to them.
Because it shows how you feel.
It shows how much you really care about it, how much you really want to do it.
Because if you say something, you turn around and do something else, your actions are obviously speaking louder than your words.
Actions are just louder than words.
You have to do things to show that you are actually a believer in something.
Actions can speak louder than words because people follow your actions. They don't always listen to your words.
That is so true. Many times people will follow what you do and just not what you say.
Yeah, if people don't practice what they preach, others will not respect them or believe what they are saying.
Let's talk with our studio guests and find out how their actions speak louder than their words, particularly in artistic and creative ministries.
They are Marissa, Matt, Caitlin, Katie, Anthony, Jessica, and of course we got Maximus in the back there.
So what artistic endeavors or creative ministries are you involved in?
Ever since I was a little girl, I've been doing puppeteering with my mother. She started that because she was inspired by Jim Henson's productions. And she made maybe 30 puppets, and just 2 years ago I made Maximus. And together we do puppet shows for children about creation or Moses or various Bible stories that we can take teachings out of that the children can understand.
Oh, that's really interesting.
It's really cool.
Nice. I know I'm involved in my church's youth group, and I also do the Builders Club at school where we help less fortunate people.
I'm a little more selfish with my creativity because I keep it to myself, really. Like you guys, that's great how you guys help other people and you really show other people what you do, but I'm kind of more private with mine. Like I draw And I just kind of, it hasn't really happened that I haven't really helped other people with it. Like I'd like to have like a cartoon show when I get older. Maybe it'll make people laugh in the future. But as of right now, it's just kind of sitting in a binder at home. It's just for me.
Well, I knit and I make jewelry, and like when someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, I really like your bracelet," like, "Oh, there you go, you can have it," and I'll just make another one. It's no big deal. But I also knit for people that ask me, like my little cousins, like, "Wow, can you make me a scarf?" And I'm making one for her right now, and I think she'll really like it, so I do that.
I know I sing in my church choir, and like just to communicate that message and doing something you love it's just this great feeling that you get,
I'm really involved in music, and I play a couple different instruments, like all the percussion stuff and piano, and I haven't really done anything to help anybody about it, but I mean, when I play in public, I mean, I get kids, little kids come up to me afterwards and say, "Oh, wow, you're really great. What's your name, mister?" Like I want your autograph and stuff like that.
How are your actions more effective than simple words?
Well, I mean, if I was to say, "Oh, I played at this concert and I had little kids come up to me," you would say, "Oh, yeah, that's nice." But I mean, if you actually saw it, you would say, "Wow, that is just beautiful."
Well, it's kind of like I do theater and everything, and when you read a script, like, I mean, a lot of times if it's a famous script, it'll be in a book and you can get it out of the library and everything. It just loses a lot of what it is. Like, when you actually put a play on, it becomes like, it just comes alive on the stage and everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, because we have to actually read Hamlet in school, and it's just like, it's something totally different when you read it. Like, it was meant to be on stage. It was meant to be seen.
Exactly. Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen, a professor at the University of California, believes that at the deepest level, the creative process and the healing process come from a single source.
Creativity can be healing. When we express our feelings in writing, compose a song, or tell a story with puppets, we are participating in the creative process.
Creative expression can restore our balance, open the way to freeing us from hurts and fears, and increase our feeling of well-being.
Let's go back to the teens on the street and find out when they were moved by an artistic or creative presentation and how it affected them.
Let's check it out.
Some music I think people listen to that really changes like how they think of a lot of things, like lyrics and stuff.
I had to go to a concert for my one music class, and then after that I started liking classical music.
I'm pretty much moved by music a lot, especially lyrics. I'll read a lot of the music and take it into meaning. I mean, I can't necessarily take one song, but I've had so many that have gotten me where I've cried, like it's so beautiful, and I've just been touched.
A lot of times when I listen to music, I always find something in there.
Like music really has an impact on you?
Every time I listen to my favorite band, Census Fail.
There's a lot of artists that I like music and stuff, and I don't know, like their lyrics are very meaningful to me because like they express a lot of emotion that I agree with, and so it makes me feel like I'm not alone.
Menace to Society.
All right. Why did it have an impact on your life, or?
Well, if you've seen the movie, it shows how life is in the hood and what people go through.
I guess you could say more so like statues in museums. Like I've gone to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and that was like one of the most touching things ever. You can't even words can't even explain how meaningful it was, and things there just really set you in the mood, made you feel really horrible. You actually understood how much of a hard and rough time period that Jewish people had to undergo.
Can you think of a time when you were moved by an artistic or creative presentation?
Yeah, when we had the Pope John Paul II's memorial mass at our church, these two women sang the Pope's favorite Polish song, and it was just beautiful. It really touched me. I don't know, I can't really say why, but it just I felt like it was just really nice.
Yeah, I hate to sound redundant, but music, it's not necessarily the lyrics like everybody on the street has been saying, but one time last year, me and a friend of mine went to, it was kind of like a summer session at Berkeley College for music. We were studying guitar there, and we saw this one performance of this jazz guitarist, and up until that point, I was mainly just playing rock, and after I saw him play, I was just really, really moved and inspired that I really wanted to start learning jazz guitar.
Well, I know the first time I saw Simon Birch, which is one of my favorite movies. I was really touched by it. I started crying like at the end. It was really sad, but it was like that was probably the movie that touched me the most. It was really, really good.
A Holocaust survivor, Frida Herskovich, she came to our school and she did a little slideshow, and she was just like what she had to say and how proud she was. It was just like, it gave you chills. She was such an incredible person. Like, she was there telling you, you know, that hate can't happen, like this can't happen again, you know, the Holocaust and everything. It was an incredible experience.
I know when my school puts on performances, like a musical or something, just people a few years ago were amazing, and their talent is just spectacular, that when they sing and perform, it's just like you're watching someone on Broadway. So that really touches me. Like,
I remember when I saw the play Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. The guy who played the really wise guy, the con artist, he really like influenced me, because I had to play. I had to be like a slick wise guy from the 40s, and I knew what to do, how to act, because I kind of followed his way, and it really taught me a lot.
Yeah.
I've always been really a big Arthur Miller fan, and there's one play, Incident at Vici, about this man sacrificing his life for a stranger, and that's just like one of the most beautiful things I've ever read, and just touched me.
Humans are made to be creative.
As beings made in God's image, we share in the joy of creating.
Next, let's hear how our spotlight guest and lay missionary, Yana Ungarova, has found that creative ministries like mime and clowning help to break down the barriers in street evangelization.
You know, people need to become like little children, and somehow we have it, all of us, these little boys, little girls in us who need to play, who need to be free. So through this ministry, through creativity, people can become more like little children and discover new things in themselves. And also sometimes what is really great, when you can act or invite people to acting, and they can take the character maybe to enter the biblical story and become someone there. It can give you totally different view of the story, and it can touch some areas of your life which were maybe suppressed. Sometimes when we would have, for example, street evangelization or something like that, it's always good to have a clown there when you need to give little invitations to people or some message. People will take it from the clown, but not from the normal person. So I have quite good experiences with that. I remember also one story from Germany. We were going home and we were traveling by metro, and 3 of us took white gloves, because usually we play mimes with white gloves. And there is something special about white gloves. I don't know what it is, but when you put the white gloves, you become another character and you can do many things. So in the middle of the train, we started to build a tower, and we did different things, and it was just flowing, and it was total improvisation. And people in the train started to ask, what is happening? What is this group? What they are doing? And the others who were not acting, they could explain to them and share their life stories. So it was really great.
I think the Bible can really be written in a way that's very intimidating for young readers and even people who are older, but the simplification of the stories and the creative ways that Yana was talking about have definitely helped me to understand a lot more of the stories easier. Has artistry or creativity ever touched someone else?
Well, I know in my church we put on a performance called 7 Last Words, and a lot of people come up to us after and say, like, wow, that was amazing, just the way you spoke and put on the performance, because we do it in the darkness and we have candles at the altar in the church, and it kind of just brings out, I guess, the awe that's seen when Jesus was in his last minutes. Like, it's just, a lot of people like it.
Yeah, one time when I sang in public, this mother and her little boy, who was in a wheelchair, came up to me after I performed, and she said that I just made her little boy just smile, and he was just so happy. And it was just an amazing feeling to be able to touch someone with my singing. It's really great.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that because I was a featured soloist in one of my concerts, and some people told me they were like crying, and then other people told me they're like, you were meant to be on stage. You know, like that feeling, it just makes your heart swell. Like it's so exciting, you know. Me and 3 or 4 other classmates put together a variety show about the 50s and 60s and war during those times. So it was basically about the Korean War and the Vietnam War. And when we presented it to the class, they were just so blown away. And the teacher was like all excited, and she wanted to go get her, you know, the superintendent and be like, you have to go look at this, you know. And they were just really excited, and they were able to participate in it too. And that was really good for them.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Next, Yana shares a couple of experiences where her creative presentations helped others to open themselves to new things.
We had a girl, she just couldn't do anything. And after 3 days of the little seminar, she started to dance and to really praise God through the movement and through the dance. And afterwards, she started her own little drama group in her parish with children and youth. So I was very happy to see that, and she was like blooming. It was really obvious that God gave her a very new level of freedom. Once we were in Germany, in Köln. We were doing some street ministry, and I was there as a clown. And when I act as clown, usually I don't speak. Unless I am really convinced that I should start speaking, I don't. So I was communicating with people just through gestures and smiling and so on. And there was a man, quite young man, sitting there. And I felt he started to ask me questions. So in the beginning, I just answer with my hands and muscles of the face and so on. And then I felt it would be good to talk to him. So I started to talk to him. And we had a very deep conversation about sex. We talked about the different issues. He messed up his life during, he was involved in some unhealthy relationships. And he felt it's not right. And he wanted to open these questions that were raising in him with someone, but it's usually very difficult. And somehow, as I was a clown, he decided to open, and I could share with him my point of view, my experience, why I would rather wait for having sex in marriage only. And he was really listening and receiving. If I would be like a normal character, he wouldn't open some of these questions.
The stories are amazing and really show how Creative Ministries can reach people in a way that other forms of communication just can't.
Creativity is needed sometimes when more conventional methods are not as effective as they could be.
Some of the greatest saints relied on forms of art and creativity in order to minister.
One example is St. Francis of Assisi. Blind and in great physical pain, he wrote the poem, The Canticle of the Sun.
This famous work, the first work of poetry in the Italian language, praises the beauty of God's creation and draws the hearer into a deeper connection with the natural world.
I could only imagine how writing it helped him to reconnect with the beauty he could no longer see.
Yeah, I'm sure. I guess I can relate, because I know once when I was just really frustrated with how my life was going, just at a time I would write down my feelings, I guess in a form of poetry, but I would just use it as a release.
Oh, that's really cool.
Do you think that artistic and creative ministries can help people to understand the story of God?
That's the next question we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Do you think creative ministries like these can help people understand their faith and God?
Yeah, there are certainly some people that will get more in touch through an artistic means than a doctrine means or something along those lines.
Yeah, it gets people more involved, so I think if they're more interested in things, they probably want to learn more about it.
it makes it a lot easier because they're not left out in the blue and left to find it themselves. They have other people to help them, and it's an outlet.
How do you think creative ministries like music and painting and whatnot can help people to understand their faith in the story of God?
Well, it grabs more attention that way. More people listen to music and watch movies.
I think it puts it into a more like now perspective than just going and like reading the Bible or whatever.
Some of the greatest saints relied on forms of art and creativity in order to minister.
Earlier, we mentioned St. Francis of Assisi, who wrote poetry.
Another example is St. Francis de Sales, who tried to bring the Swiss back to Catholicism.
No one would listen to him or even open their doors.
Francis wrote out his sermons, copying each one by hand, and slipped them under people's doors.
This is the first record the Church has of religious tracts being used to communicate with people.
Can you guys think of any examples of how creative and artistic ministry can help people understand the story of God?
Yeah, I think cantering at church is you're singing a song and you're telling a story about God through that song, so that helps.
Yeah, I think definitely like actions can more easily evoke emotions than just talking.
Well, I know back in the day when I was a little kid, we used to watch these little cartoon Bible stories, and I loved those things. I could not get enough of them.
Yeah.
Like at my school, we would like put them in like every class, and we would have, I knew all the stories by heart because the videos, you know, so.
Fairly recently, we've had the Passion of the Christ, which has become something kind of accessible to people who might not want to just pick up a Bible and read it.
One of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people who've seen that movie, and they said it changed so many ways that they think of things.
So what can we all do to use our talents to minister to others?
Next, Yana gives us some advice and encouragement on how to do this.
I will encourage people to discover their own creativity, because we are created to God's image, and God is the creator. He created everything out of nothing, and now we can continue, recreate what is already given and find new forms and new things. So many words attack us from each side, and we hear too many words. And people are interested for something real. They want to see how do we live. If we are authentic, they will observe our life and they will check if we do what we say, and if our life really reflects what we say that we believe. So in this sense, I believe the action is really more important. And especially in time of difficulty, you just need someone who will come and hug you. Just be there, present. Very often, when you go through really difficult situation of loss and things like that, the words will not help, but the presence, good touch, or just gesture of love will help a lot.
What other advice do you have on how anyone can use their talents to minister to others?
Well, I definitely say don't ever be afraid to like go in front of people or get nervous in front of people. Just find out how you could control yourself and how you're nervous, and just find a way to express yourself the best you can.
I'd say tell other people what you're interested in, and maybe like start a club or something where you can get together and help other people to do it.
Well, I know my advice would be to trust God. You know, He's always there for you and He'll help you out. You know, if you're ever in trouble with your ministry or something and you don't know what to do, you know, He's there. Holy Spirit's going to guide you.
If you have some obscure talent like puppet construction, I mean, you think to yourself, who's going to appreciate that? But if you look around, there will be somebody who can offer you some kind of opportunity, and somewhere along the line you'll find your niche. And even if you have some oddball creative ministry to present, you'll find a way.
Yeah, another thing, don't be afraid to like branch out in different areas. Like if you like one thing and you're really good at it, you know, just do what you like to do, help other people, and you know, see where that takes you.
I think the best advice that I can give is just to not be afraid to be proactive with what your interests are, because like you said, an obscure talent can really become a ministry. And once you put your interest into action, it can kind of become a thanks to God for the talent that He gave you by helping someone else.
Yeah, like I heard somewhere that if you could just touch one person in your life, then God's goal would be accomplished. So if somebody could speak out to just one person, or even more, that would be like fantastic.
Yes, sometimes it takes creativity to overcome an obstacle, kind of like what Francis de Sales did when he wrote the sermons and stuck them under people's doors.
Well, sometimes the obstacle is that we can't understand, you know, what we're trying to express with words. It's kind of like the two creation stories in the Bible. It's the Jewish people's trying to express something so amazing, the creation of the world, with simple language, and really can't do it. Often something creative or artistic can speak to us about things that are not easily captured with simple, direct language.
Creativity can help us to wrestle with deep questions.
It allows us to express the mysteries of God and of our faith that reason alone cannot approach.
And when a person places their God-given talents at the service of others,
then God is glorified.
In essence, the artists are sharing themselves with those to whom they minister.
If we follow the example of Jesus, we understand that there is no greater gift than to give of yourself to another.
How have you used your creativity to minister to others? We want to know.
Contact us through our website.
The address is www.realfaithtv.com.
Or you can call us at 609-406-7402.
And always remember that Jesus is the gift.
He gave His whole life that we might live.
Jesus continues to give Himself to us every Sunday in the Eucharist,
recreating us and transforming us to show forth His love to all the world.
These days, the tendency is to donate money, buy a gift, or send flowers when you want to help someone.
But the greatest gift you can give is the gift of yourself, of your time and your talent.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on Real Faith TV. God bless.